I stand alone in the bridal suite at Wamut Valley Vineyard, staring at my reflection in the floor-length mirror. The dress fits like it was poured over me, every seam perfect, every crystal catching the light exactly where it should. The makeup artist outdid herself. My eyes look wider, my cheekbones more defined, my lips the exact shade of rose that makes me look almost serene. My bouquet rests on the vanity, white roses, tight and fragrant, waiting for hands that feel too empty to hold them. I check my phone for the 14th time in 20 minutes. No messages from Mom, nothing from Dad, not even a single text from Logan. A soft knock breaks the silence. Martha, the wedding planner, eases the door open, her practiced smile not quite reaching her eyes. It's time. Caroline, are you ready? My gaze drifts to the window overlooking the ceremony space. 90 guests sit in neat white rows. The string quartet plays something soft and aching. In the front row, 3 empty seats stare back at me like accusations carved into the landscape. They're not coming, are they? My voice wobbles despite the steel I'm trying to find in it. Martha's smile falters. There's still time, she says, but the lie hangs between us, thin as gauze. I breathe in, smooth the silk over my hips. Let's go. The garden doors open, and 90 heads swivel to watch me walk alone down the aisle. I feel their gazes like small hands reaching out to pat my shoulders with pity, each one a little weight I have to shrug off. Whispers curl behind cupped hands. Encouraging smiles stretch toward me, but they only make the hollow in my chest yawn wider. I fix my eyes on Ethan at the altar, steady as a lighthouse. The love coming off him is almost enough to drown out the echo of my mother's voice from 3 days ago. We'll try, sweetie. Logan's firm has an event that weekend. Casual, dismissive, like she was turning down coffee, not her only daughter's wedding. I can pay for the flights, I'd offered, my voice cracking with something too desperate to name. The hotel, whatever it costs, please, Mom. In the background, my father's voice had drifted through. Tell her we're busy now. One foot in front of the other. Breathe, step, breathe. I will not cry. I will not give them that, even in their absence. When I reach Ethan, his hands close around mine, warm, solid, real. I'm here, he whispers, so low only I can hear. We're enough. For a split second, I'm 8 years old, standing in our living room while my parents fuss over Logan's debate trophy. They position it just so on the mantle, step back to admire it, take photos for the relatives. My art contest certificate sits forgotten in a kitchen drawer. I'd shown it to them that afternoon, pride bubbling in my chest. Mom glanced at it. That's nice, honey. Later, Dad ruffled my hair and said, Logan needs more support. He's going places. You understand, don't you, Caroline? I'd tried harder after that. Academic awards, scholarships, business success, each achievement a desperate plea for them to turn their heads my way. Each one met with a distracted nod, if I was lucky. The ceremony moves around me. I say my vows, my voice gaining strength with every promise. I choose a future based on seeing each other clearly. I tell Ethan, the words heavier than anyone but him can know. When the officiant pronounces us married, Ethan's mother wraps me in a hug so warm it nearly undoes me. You're one of us now, dear, she whispers, and something tight in my chest loosens a fraction. The photographer catches us on the dance floor, Ethan spinning me under twinkling lights. His cousins circle us, laughing, singing, for moments at a time. I forget the empty seats. I forget the phone I've checked too many times. I forget the explanations I've offered curious guests. At the reception, Sarah, my college roommate, my rock, raises her glass to finding the family who deserves you. Her eyes lock onto mine, fierce and loyal. A ripple of agreement moves through the crowd. The truth of it hits me square in the chest. All those years, invisible to the people who should have seen me most clearly. All that chasing after approval they never meant to give. When the noise fades for a moment, I slip away to check my phone one last time. No missed calls, no messages, not even a perfunctory congratulations. Ethan finds me there, staring at the blank screen. They missed something beautiful today, he says, his arm settling around my waist. I look up at him, this man who has never made me earn his attention. I think of his family, who welcomed me without question. I think of friends who flew across the country to stand beside me. I set the phone down. Their choice, I say, And the words feel lighter than they should. Not my burden. For the first time, I almost believe it. 2 years later, I lean back in my ergonomic chair, staring at the notification on my screen. Acquisition of Crescent Motion Studio finalized at $21 million. 2 years of negotiation. 5 years of building from scratch. Validation in 8 figures. My office door bursts open as my team floods in with champagne and flutes. To Caroline, Jen, my creative director, raises her glass. The woman who built something from nothing while certain people weren't looking. I smile, clinking glasses with the 12 people who actually showed up for me. We're mid-celebration when my phone buzzes. Instagram. Logan posting about his twins' private school fundraiser. I shouldn't look. I do anyway. There they are, Mom and Dad flanking Logan and Hannah. Their identical daughters in matching plaid uniforms. Family tradition continues, 3rd generation at Westridge Academy. Dad's arm draped over Logan's shoulder. Mom beaming at her granddaughters. I scroll through more photos. A Hawaii vacation I wasn't invited to. A holiday gathering I missed. Dad's retirement party. In every frame. The perfect American family, minus one daughter. What the photos don't show, the $5,000 Maui rental, the $30,000 per year tuition, the $2 million neighborhood, all funded by my parents' retirement savings, according to the cousins who occasionally remember I exist. Caroline? Jen touches my arm. You okay? I lock the screen. Just checking messages. Where were we? The celebration continues, but I'm running numbers in my head. Logan's law firm is moderately successful, but not that successful. My parents have been quietly propping him up for years. Meanwhile, my $21 million acquisition didn't warrant so much as a text. After the team leaves, I scroll through my parents' social media, hundreds of posts about Logan, the twins, family gatherings. My existence shrinks to a single generic birthday wish last year, happy birthday, Caroline, without even a photo. I close my laptop and make a decision. The next morning, I call my financial advisor, the Porsche, metallic gray. I want it today. 3 hours later, I'm signing paperwork for a $135,000 car. Extravagant, unnecessary, exactly what I want. Not because I need their approval, but because I never needed their money. Back home, I take a single photo of the car gleaming in my driveway. I post it with a simple caption, dreams realized. For 3 days, nothing. Then Wednesday afternoon, my phone lights up with a name I haven't seen in 5 years, Mom. My stomach tightens as I answer. Hello, Caroline. Her voice carries that blend of authority and urgency reserved for family crisis. We need to talk. Family meeting tomorrow. Family meeting? Disbelief bleeds through. After 5 years of silence? This is important. She pauses, and I hear Dad in the background. Tell her it's important. What's important? I ask. My wedding wasn't important. My business wasn't important. What matters now? Mom's voice tightens. Financial issues. We need to discuss it as a family. Of course. They saw the car. They know about the acquisition. Now I'm family again. Tomorrow at 2, I say, and hang up. The next morning, I slide into my new Porsche, the leather seat cool against my back. The drive to my childhood home takes 40 minutes, time enough to remember birthdays celebrated without me, achievements unacknowledged, holidays spent alone while they gathered without me. I park in the circular driveway, my metallic gray Porsche stark against their traditional colonial. For a moment, I sit there, hands gripping the wheel. The last time I stood on that porch was 6 years ago, announcing my engagement. Mom had nodded politely while Dad checked his watch. They've never needed me before. Why now? My phone buzzes with a text from Ethan. Remember who you are. Call me if you need extraction. I smile. Another notification. An email from Naomi Blake, the investor who believed in Crescent Motion when no one else would. Your worth isn't measured by those who couldn't see it. A final alert. My assistant confirming tomorrow's meetings. Don't let them take too much time. You have the production review at 4. Come on. I take a deep breath, remembering my therapist's words. Boundaries aren't punishments, they're protection. I straighten my shoulders and step out. Before I can knock, the front door swings open. Mom and Dad stand there, their expressions shifting from annoyance to shock as they take in the Porsche. You've done well for yourself. Dad says, not hello, not I've missed you, just an assessment. Yes, I reply, no hugs, no warmth. They lead me to the dining room where Logan and Hannah already sit, faces arranged in calculated concern. Caroline, Logan nods, as though we spoke last week. Let's get straight to business, Dad says, pulling out financial folders. I remain standing, purse strapped tight in my grip, the only sign of the turmoil beneath my calm. No, first, I'd like to know why I'm suddenly important enough to include after being excluded from everything else for years. Mom and Dad exchange glances. Logan shifts. We can discuss that later, Mom says, her voice slipping into that dismissive tone I know too well. We have more pressing matters. I'm not in a rush. I stay standing, and I'm not interested in being convenient family only when you need something. For the first time in my adult life, I see uncertainty flicker across my father's face. In this moment, I understand, they need me now, and for once, I have the power to decide what happens next. The dining room feels smaller than I remember. Richard sits at the head of the table, hands folded like he's presiding over a board meeting. Elaine perches beside him, worry lines creasing her forehead. Across from me, Logan slumps in his chair, his designer shirt wrinkled at the cuffs. Hannah sits beside him, a leather photo album open on her lap. It's foreclosure, Caroline. Richard's voice is firm but carries an unfamiliar tremor. Logan's mortgage is 3 months behind. The twins' tuition is unpaid. I say nothing, letting the silence stretch. 2 years of no contact, and this is what brings us together. You need to help your brother. Richard slides a document across the polished oak, loan paperwork already filled out. The presumption steals my breath. Think about your niece and nephew. Elaine's voice catches, a practiced hitch that once would have sent me scrambling to please her. They're just children. Logan leans forward. We're family. That's what family does. Hannah flips the album open wider. They ask about Aunt Caroline all the time. She points to photos of children I barely recognize. Maddie wants to know why you never visit. Richard clears his throat. We've done everything we could. Our retirement fund is. He trails off, exchanging a look with Elaine. We've been supporting them as best we can. The implication hangs in the air. My success means I owe them. I close the photo album and slide it back across the table. Where were you at my wedding? Logan blinks. What? My wedding. 2 years ago. Where were you? Elaine's hand flutters to her throat. We were busy. Logan had that event. It wasn't convenient, Richard adds, as though commenting on a missed dinner. I nod slowly, feeling something crystallize inside me. And yet here you are because you saw the Porsche on Instagram. You only contacted me because you saw the car. Logan's face flushes. That's not fair. Isn't it? I sit straighter, feeling the power of my independence in my spine. I built everything alone. Every scholarship, every client, every late night. Where were any of you? Richard's eyes narrow. What's that got to do with the current situation? Everything. I fold my hands on the table, mirroring his posture. I'm listening. Tell me why I should write a check today. Logan slams his hand on the table. You always had to prove something. Some of us were just trying to live normal lives. Richard's hand settles on Logan's shoulder. Your brother had more potential. We had to nurture that. You were always so independent. We're still your parents. Elaine whispers, tears gathering. Despite everything. You were parents in title only. My voice stays steady. You missed my graduation, my scholarship ceremony, my company launch, my wedding. I tap the table with each milestone. You missed my life, and now you want to share in what that life has built. Caroline, Richard starts. You didn't build this success. I continue. You don't get to share it. My phone vibrates. Ethan, you okay? I think of Naomi Blake's words when she invested. You don't need approval from anyone who can't see your light. I think of my team, their faces shining as we toasted the acquisition. People who chose to see me. In my briefcase rests the foundation funding contract, signed by the board last Tuesday. People who trust me with purpose, not just money. Richard slides the loan paperwork closer. We're only asking for what's reasonable. The interest rate is quite fair, Elaine adds. Logan's smirk returns. Blood is thicker than water. Caro. I stand slowly, deliberately. They lean forward, expectant. I reach for my briefcase and set it on the table with a soft thud. I've made a different decision, I say. Instead of a checkbook, I withdraw a single document and place it on the table. This is the announcement for the Rivera Media Scholarship Foundation. $16 million to create opportunities for young women in digital media arts. I smooth the paper with my fingertips. The press release goes out tomorrow morning. 16 million? Logan chokes out. Named after Miss Rivera, my high school media arts teacher, the woman who attended my gallery showings when my family was too busy. The money is legally protected. The board approved it last week. Silence falls like concrete. I'm helping girls who never got the applause I didn't get, I say, gathering my belongings. That's what family means to me. Logan's face contorts. You're wasting it on strangers, on nobody girls who deserve better than what I got. I snap my briefcase closed. Girls who need someone to see them, to invest in them. My parents sit stunned, staring at the paper. I pick up my phone, turning the screen toward them. A recording app displays 36 to 14. I've also documented every message from today, I say quietly, every demand, every guilt trip, just in case anyone gets creative with legal claims. I walk toward the door. Behind me, Logan's chair scrapes back violently. You can't just leave. His voice cracks. We need that money. I pause at the threshold. No, Logan, what you needed was to show up. At my graduation, at my company launch, at my wedding. I place my hand on the doorknob. But that opportunity has passed. The door clicks shut behind me, soft, final, like freedom. The Porsche purrs beneath me as I drive away. My knuckles no longer white on the wheel. The further I get, the steadier my hands become. I press the call button. It's done, I tell Ethan. They showed exactly who they are. How bad was it? Exactly what we expected. I breathe deep, lighter than I've felt in hours. Logan lost his mind when I showed him the foundation. Dad tried to salvage it, but Mom just kept crying about obligation. Are you okay? I glance in the rearview mirror. No tears, no flush, only a clear-eyed woman looking back. I'm better than okay. For the first time, I saw them clearly without hoping for something different. I'm proud of you. Foundation board meeting at 9 tomorrow. Everything's ready for the press announcement. The timing had been deliberate. Establish the foundation legally before any confrontation. Schedule the announcement before they could regroup. No emotional pleas, just structures they couldn't penetrate. The Rivera Media Scholarship would be my legacy, not a family drama. I'll be ready, I promise. By midnight, my phone buzzes continuously with family emergency texts. I silence it and place it face down on my nightstand. I don't need to read them to know what they contain. Morning brings 6 voicemails from my mother, a progression from weepy pleas about family unity to sharp accusations of betrayal, ending with threats about what people will think of a daughter abandoning her family. You've dealt with worse, I tell myself as I apply mascara. The routine grounds me. My navy suit, the one I wore when signing the acquisition papers, hangs ready on the closet door. Ethan hands me coffee in my favorite mug, the chipped ceramic one with the faded quote about resilience. Logan's been calling business associates, he says, scrolling through his phone with a furrowed brow. And your dad tried reaching my uncle this morning. Predictable. I take a sip. The coffee is bitter but fortifying, grounding me in the present. They're moving faster than I expected, but not more cleverly. Same playbook, different chapter. The foundation board meeting goes smoothly. 12 accomplished women from media and finance sit around the polished conference table, all personally vetted, all committed to supporting young female artists. The press release is approved unanimously. Launch details finalized. The first scholarship recipient will be selected in 6 months. I watch their faces as they discuss logistics. These women who chose to be here, who believe in this vision as much as I do. I'm reviewing the event venue proposal when Janine from reception buzzes through. Miss Rivers, your family is here. They're causing quite a scene in the lobby. Through the glass walls of my office, I can see security already moving toward the commotion. I straighten papers that don't need straightening, buying myself a moment. Have security escort them out, please, calmly and professionally. I watch through the windows as my mother's voice rises over the general office hum. My daughter is abandoning her family. Her hands gesture wildly. her pearl earrings swinging with each emphatic motion. Logan stands beside her, arms crossed, face flushed with that particular shade of red it used to turn when he was denied something as a child, a color I remember all too well. My team watches me for cues, their work paused, eyes flickering between me and the scene below. I stand, smooth my skirt, and walk to my office door. It's being handled. I tell them with a calm I've practiced for this moment. Let's continue with our work. Security escorts my family toward the elevators. Logan's voice carries back across the open floor. This isn't over. We have family obligations you can't just ignore. That evening, I draft a single email to all three of them. I have documented your harassment at my workplace. Any further attempts to contact me at my office will result in a formal complaint. All communication regarding family matters must be directed through my attorney, whose contact information is attached. Caroline. Direct and clear, says Patricia, my therapist, when I read it aloud during our next session. 2 days later, we sit in her sunlit office, the faint smell of jasmine tea curling between us. The afternoon light catches the dust motes floating lazily above her bookshelves. How did it feel sending that? She asks, her pen poised over her notepad. Necessary. I trace the pattern on the armchair with my fingertip. Not satisfying. Just necessary. Exactly. More like setting a boundary than seeking revenge. She offers a small, knowing smile. Yes. I look up at her, the words settling into something deeper. They're showing who they've always been, aren't they? People tend to reveal themselves under pressure. Patricia says, what you're seeing now isn't new behavior, just intensified. The mask slips when there's something at stake. The realization washes over me, simple, but profound. All those years, I wanted their love, but they wanted my resources, two different currencies that could never be exchanged. That's an important distinction, Patricia notes, watching my face. All those years, my voice trails off as connections form like constellations in my mind. The childhood neglect, the absent parents, the way they appeared only when I had something to offer, a trophy, a scholarship, a check. It wasn't my job to earn their love. It was their job to give it freely. And now? Patricia prompts gently. Now I know I'm not responsible for fixing them. I feel the truth of it settle in my bones, heavy and liberating all at once. There's freedom in that, real freedom. The next morning brings news that Logan has contacted the Portland Chronicle about a family dispute. The reporter, smarter than Logan anticipated, asked why none of them attended my wedding. The resulting story paints a picture Logan hadn't intended, of parents absent during milestones, suddenly interested when money appeared. My mother's social media rant, a masterpiece of self-pity and deflection, generates an unexpected wave of support for me. Former classmates, business associates, even distant relatives reach out with messages of solidarity. We always wondered why they never talked about your success, writes a cousin I haven't seen in years. Now it makes sense. Richard's attempts to contact my investors fizzle when they refuse to discuss a personal matter. The community rallies around the Scholarship Foundation instead, with applications already pouring in months before the official launch. The Portland Business Journal requests an interview about the foundation. I agree. Setting clear parameters. We'll discuss the scholarship's purpose and impact, not family matters. The reporter, Delia Warren, meets me at the foundation's temporary office space. She's sharp-eyed and thorough, the kind of journalist who doesn't miss details. This is an impressive initiative, she says, reviewing the prospectus. $16 million is substantial seed funding. What inspired such generosity? I consider my words carefully. I had a teacher who saw potential in me when others didn't. Miss Rivera changed my life by simply paying attention. I want to create that opportunity for young women who might otherwise be overlooked. You've built an impressive career, Delia notes, her pen moving across her notepad. Crescent Motion's acquisition was one of the biggest tech stories last year. Is your family proud? The question hangs between us like a held breath. I could dodge it, redirect to safer territory. Instead, I meet her eyes directly. My success was built without family support. They weren't at my wedding, my graduation, or when I sold my company. Delia's pen pauses. That provides interesting context for the foundation's mission. Later that week, the article appears with the headline, Self-Made Success Creates Legacy of Support. The contrast between my generosity and my family's entitlement becomes public narrative. When news of Logan's house foreclosure breaks days later, the community connects the dots without my saying a word. Ethan handles increased security protocols at our home. My business team manages communication strategy, filtering messages and prioritizing foundation work. Naomi Blake, my first investor and mentor, releases a statement supporting my commitment to lifting others rather than enabling dependency. My college friends form a protective circle, filling our calendar with dinners and events that leave no room for dwelling on family drama. Patricia provides anchoring during weekly sessions. The united front becomes its own kind of family, chosen, intentional, supportive. 2 weeks after the confrontation, I received the Business Leadership Award from the Women in Media Alliance. Standing at the podium, looking out at faces that genuinely celebrate my success, I realize the tables have completely turned. My parents' retirement plans are now delayed indefinitely. Hannah's social position in her precious country club circles has eroded with their financial collapse. Logan's twins will transfer to public school next semester. Meanwhile, the foundation thrives, generating positive coverage that spreads beyond Portland. The story resonates not because I sought revenge, but because I chose to transform pain into purpose. The scholarship committee has selected 3 finalists for the first award. Janine tells me, placing the portfolios on my desk, they'd like your input by Friday. I open the first file and begin reviewing the work of a young woman whose teacher noticed her talent when no one else did. The circle completes itself, healing through action rather than looking backward. Family defined by what it does, not what it claims to be. For the first time in my life, I feel truly seen. In the weeks that follow, I delete the 4th voicemail from Aunt Meredith without listening past her plea of, "Everyone misses you, Caroline." The Thanksgiving invitation sits in my email inbox. Its subject line, "Family needs to be together," a transparent attempt at manipulation, wrapped in the language of tradition. My phone chimes with a text from my cousin Drew. "I don't understand this rift between you and Uncle Richard. Can't you just talk to them?" Of course he doesn't understand. He wasn't at my empty wedding. He didn't witness 20 years of invisibility. A letter arrived yesterday from Mom, the elegant handwriting unmistakably hers. "We always believed in you," she wrote, as if rewriting our entire history. The envelope sits half-burned in my fireplace, its edges curled and blackened like the lies it contains. Dad called my office directly last week. "We need to clear the air," he said, his voice lacking any acknowledgement of what they'd done. My assistant, following strict instructions, told him I was unavailable, permanently. The final straw comes when Logan sends the twins to my office with handmade cards. "We miss Aunt Caroline," written in childish handwriting I know isn't theirs. The manipulation is so transparent it makes my stomach turn. They're using every emotional lever they can find. Ethan observes that evening, examining the cards on our kitchen counter. They're desperate. I flip through the week's collection of attempts, emails, voicemails, the cards, a fruit basket that arrived with no note, but they still haven't actually apologized. Not once. The family attorney calls next, his voice professionally neutral. "There are moral obligations to consider, Caroline. Family ties carry certain responsibilities." The implication is clear. I'm the villain in their story, the heartless daughter who abandoned her struggling family. Pastor Wilson from the church I stopped attending years ago leaves a voicemail. "Your parents are deeply concerned. Perhaps we could meet to discuss reconciliation." 2 childhood friends, neither of whom I've spoken to in a decade, suddenly reach out. "Your parents seem so heartbroken," says one. "The holidays are for forgiveness," says the other. When Logan's wife, Hannah, emails photos of the twins in Halloween costumes, "The children ask about you constantly," I nearly throw my phone across the room. They're framing this entire situation as my responsibility. I tell Patricia during our weekly session, my forgiveness, my duty, my failure to be the bigger person. "And how does that make you feel?" she asks, her eyes steady on mine. Angry, I admit, but also validated. They wouldn't fight this hard if they weren't afraid of losing control. If I were truly the villain they're painting, they'd be relieved to be rid of me. The foundation selection meeting provides an unexpected challenge. The committee recommends a scholarship for Maya Harrison, A 17-year-old filmmaker whose application video shows remarkable talent and painful familiarity. She reminds me of myself. I tell Ethan that night. Quiet, determined, overlooked. I watch her interview video again. Maya's eyes hold the same weariness I see in my own wedding photos. She talks about finding her voice through filmmaking when her family couldn't hear her. What if I'm wrong to cut them off completely? The question slips out before I can stop it. Ethan sits beside me on the couch, his hand finding mine. What brought this on? Maya, if I'm telling these girls to find their strength, am I modeling that by running away from my family? Is setting boundaries running away? Ethan asks quietly. I consider this, turning the question over in my mind. No, boundaries aren't abandonment, they're protection. What would you tell Maya if her family treated her like yours treated you? The answer comes easily, rising from somewhere deep and certain. I'd tell her she deserves people who see her worth, that she doesn't have to earn love, and she doesn't have to accept the scraps they offer. The Thursday before Thanksgiving, I host dinner at our home. The dining room table extends to accommodate everyone, Ethan beside me, Naomi across from us, my business team scattered between. Maya sits at the opposite end, her scholarship certificate framed on the sideboard behind her. Our home glows with warmth my parents' house never had. Candles flicker in silver holders. Laughter rings against the ceiling. No one here needs to prove their worth to be seen. I raise my glass, to those who see us as we are. The toast echoes around the table. My phone stays off. Notifications silenced. The meal unfolds in perfect rhythm. Conversations flowing without the undercurrent of judgment I grew up with. Over dessert, I announce the Foundation's new mentorship program. I'll be personally involved with each recipient. I explain. We're creating connections that matter. Maya's eyes widen. You'll be mentoring us yourself? Every step of the way, I smile at her. This foundation isn't just about money, it's about building something meaningful together. Naomi nods approvingly. You've created structures that can't be interfered with. That takes foresight. The foundation's independence is legally secured. I confirm its success will be measured by impact, not approval. Later, as we clear plates, Ethan turns on the local news, right on schedule. The feature about the foundation airs, strategically timed to coincide with my family's traditional dinner hour. On screen, I speak with confidence I've earned. We build family through action, not obligation. The report transitions to financial analysis, contrasting the foundation's transparent governance with examples of mismanagement, including a not-so-subtle reference to Logan's business failures. Maya watches transfixed. They're actually comparing your brother's company to the foundation. Facts speak for themselves. I stack dessert plates with steady hands. The community has validated what my family refused to see. The following morning, my parents request a meeting at a coffee shop downtown. I arrive in the Porsche, the car that triggered their sudden interest after years of silence. Dad looks older than I remember. Defeat etched into lines around his mouth. He's lost weight. His suit hangs looser on his frame. We should have been there, he admits, staring at his untouched coffee. At the wedding? I ask, though I know that's not all he means. Everywhere. His voice cracks. All those years. Mom's eyes shimmer with tears. How can we fix this? The question hangs between us. 3 months ago, I might have grabbed at this opening, desperate for any acknowledgement. Now I feel only calm clarity. Some things can't be fixed, I tell them, only accepted. Mom flinches. I'm not closing the door forever, I continue, but I need accountability, not convenience. I'll consider limited contact after you both start therapy. That's unnecessary. Dad begins, the old dismissiveness rising like a reflex. It's non-negotiable. I sip my tea, the warmth spreading through my chest like certainty. They exchange glances, the silent communication of people who never expected consequences for their choices. Logan's financial collapse has stripped away their illusions of his superiority. My success exists beyond their reach. The foundation thrives independent of their approval. When they leave, no agreements have been made, no concessions offered. I watch them walk to their car, a sensible sedan now, the luxury vehicles long gone. I drive away without looking back. Freedom replaces obligation in every beat of my heart. The foundation awaits. Maya's project needs review. My chosen family expects me for dinner. For the first time, I'm moving towards something instead of away from someone, and that makes all the difference. I stand in the sunlit studio of the Crescent Foundation, watching Maya adjust her camera settings. The morning light filters through the tall windows, casting golden patterns across the polished hardwood floor. It's been a year since I faced my family for the last time. What do you think about this angle? Maya looks up, her eyes bright with the same creative fire Miss Rivera once saw in mine. Try moving it slightly to the left. Catch how the light falls across the subject. My voice carries the confidence of a mentor now, not the desperate plea of a daughter seeking approval. On the wall behind Maya, photos document our scholarship recipients' projects, stories they never could have told without the Foundation's support. Each frame represents a voice that might have been silenced, just as mine nearly was. My office here replaced the childhood bedroom where I once dreamed of being seen. Every element, from the ergonomic chair to the awards displayed without apology on floating shelves, I chose deliberately. Nothing inherited, nothing tainted by obligation or guilt. I finished the final cut of my documentary, Maya says, straightening up. Would you watch it with me? We moved to the editing bay where her project plays on the high-definition monitor. The documentary follows 3 generations of women in a rural Oregon family, their struggles and resiliences beautifully captured through Maya's lens. Watching her work, I feel a swell of pride entirely different from anything I've known before. This isn't about me, it's about what she's created, what she'll continue to create. When the final credits roll, Maya turns to me, tears brightening her eyes. You're the reason I believe I can do this, she says, wrapping her arms around me in a spontaneous hug. I think of Miss Rivera, how she recognized something in me when my own parents couldn't be bothered, how her belief sustained me through years of family indifference. Now the cycle continues, not of neglect, but of genuine support. Later that week, I stand at the podium of the Portland Arts Center, accepting a Community Leadership Award. The audience applauds, a sea of faces turned toward me with appreciation, not pity. Ethan sits in the front row, beaming with unrestrained pride. There are no empty seats causing me pain tonight, no phantom family members I wish were here. Every person in this room sees me, truly sees me for who I am. Thank you. I begin, my voice steady. This journey began in invisibility and has led to impact. For years, I measured my worth by the approval I couldn't earn from people who refused to give it. I pause, let my gaze sweep across the room. Now, I measure it by what we build together. The standing ovation washes over me like a cleansing wave. My therapist calls it post-traumatic growth, this strange peace I found after accepting that some wounds never fully heal. I maintain careful boundaries with extended family. Holiday gatherings now center around chosen family. Celebrations filled with genuine joy rather than dread. Ethan and I have established our own traditions. Naomi's retirement party at the foundation last month brought together the circles of support that lifted me when blood ties failed. The emergency fund for students facing financial hardship, my latest project, ensures that talent isn't crushed by circumstance. I understand now what these young women need because I lived without it. Unconditional belief in their potential. Driving home through Portland in my Porsche, I pass the coffee shop where I once edited videos on a borrowed laptop. Through the window, I catch a glimpse of my parents walking on the sidewalk. Our eyes meet briefly. I don't stop. There's no pain in this moment, only peaceful acknowledgement. They taught me what love isn't. Ethan and my work taught me what it is. Tomorrow, Maya sets up for her next project. I'll be there, camera in hand, showing her techniques I've mastered over years of making myself visible. Family isn't who raises you, family is who sees you, and for the first time, I'm surrounded by people who do.